Hi, welcome to this lab. In this lab, I'm going to show you how to create a storage account in Azure using Azure Portal and take you through some of the important settings associated with the same. So first of all, let me create a storage account. In order to do that, click on Create a Resource and type in Storage Account. And then click on Storage Account, click on Create. First thing, when you are creating any resource in Azure, you need to select a subscription, and secondly, you need to select a resource group. In this case, subscription is Azure Trainings. I'm going to leave that as it is. In terms of resource group, I'm going to create a new one, which is Test Storage RG. Okay. And then storage account name, it should be all lowercase, and it should be unique across Azure. Okay. And location, I'm going to leave that as North Europe. Performance type, I'm going to select as standard. Account kind, I'm going to select general purpose version 2. You can select version 1 or blob storage. And in terms of replication strategy, I'm going to select locally redundant storage. Because this is for training purposes, I'm just selecting locally redundant. And in terms of access type, I'm going to select hot. Okay, so let's click on next. In terms of security, we can select whether the secure transfer is required or not. I'm going to keep that as it is. And in terms of network connectivity, we can define some rules in such a way only the connections from certain networks or certain IP address ranges are allowed to connect to this storage account. But I'm going to explain in further detail about this configuration in the subsequent lectures. And we are not going to use this for data lake storage. So I'm going to disable it and click on next. Here we can provide tags to classify your resources into certain buckets. In this case, I'm going to call this as cost center and value is training. Okay, and click on next. The validation has been passed and you can review all the elements that you have provided, values, and click on create finally. Generally, it is very quick to create storage account. So I'm going to pause this video for a few seconds and come back once the storage account has been successfully created. Now our storage account has been successfully created. You can see here, go to resource, your deployment is complete. Let's click on it. And this is what you view when you select a storage account that you created. You can see all the values that you have selected for different configuration settings when creating the storage account. For example, we have selected performance tier as standard, access tier as hot, replication strategy is locally redundant storage, account kind is general purpose version 2, and so on. Okay. And we did provided a tag, cost center tag, which is training. So now let me take you through some of the key configuration settings and key functionality of the storage account. Firstly, activity log. This activity log you can view for every resource in Azure. Basically what it provides is log of activities that has been carried out on that particular resource. In this case, it is storage account, but this is common for all the resources in Azure. Similarly, access control. Here you can delegate access to the storage account to different users. Again, this access control is common for all resources in Azure. And I'm going to explain a bit more about this access control when we go through security. And tags, this is where you can provide further tags if you want or modify the existing tags and diagnose and solve the problems. In case if you have any problems, you can view here if there are any resource health issues and all those stuff. But I'm going to explain about this diagnose and solve problem in monitoring. And events, you can subscribe to some of the events that are happening within the storage account, and you can tie either logic app or function or different stuff to that event. For example, a blob is created in a storage account. That event will trigger a logic app with some metadata of that blob, and you can do something with it. This is very useful, but I'm going to discuss about it in the further lectures. And the next thing is Storage Explorer. This is where you can explore the data that is residing in your storage account in terms of blobs, files, queues, and tables. Again, there is a desktop version of the Storage Explorer which you can download and connect also, but this is more of a web version of it. And if you come down here, access keys, these are the keys that can be used by developers in order to develop applications which will access the data within the storage account. Okay. However, you might not want to give access to these access keys directly. You might want to generate SAS keys. Here you can generate a specific SAS key with a limited time period, with a limited access, and provide that SAS signature to your developers. So that's one way, SAS keys. Another way is access keys. Access keys basically give you blanket access. So I would advise not to give access to access keys to any of the people other than the guy who created storage account. And here you can define cross-origin resource sharing. Basically, you can mention the domain name and what operations are allowed. And here configuration. Here, if you want to change any configuration values, there are certain things that you can't change once the storage account is created. For example, performance tier, but you can change access tier. You can change the secure transfer required or not, and you can change the replication strategy and so on. And here you can specify your own key. If you want to encrypt the data within the storage account using your own key, then you can specify here. So you just need to select, and you can select a key vault URI where the key is located. Again, about this key vault, I'm going to discuss that in the security section of this course. And shared access signature, I already told you. Here you can generate the SAS keys with the limited access and limited time period and provide that information to developers who are developing applications on top of the storage account. Basically, application will use this SAS key in order to access data that is stored in storage account. Here you can define in such a way only the connections from certain virtual networks or certain IP address ranges are allowed to connect to this storage account. Again, I'm going to discuss about this in bit more detail in the further lectures. And here you can configure advanced threat protection, and you can make the storage account compatible to host a static website. Then you can enable here and provide index document name and error document path. And the properties, you can see the properties related to the storage account, and you can apply some logs also, and so on. So there are different settings that you can configure. Okay. And the rest of the settings are related to different services within storage account. For example, blob, file, table, and queues. When we discuss about those services, then I will take you through these settings and we will do some labs also. Okay. So that's it for this lab. In this lab, I have shown you how to create a storage account using Azure portal. And very quickly, I've taken you through different settings associated with storage account. In the next lecture, I'm going to explain about blob storage and its features. So if you have some time, join me in the next lecture.